Hello, everyone.
Hello, happy Monday.
Happy Monday after a beautiful weekend, right?
Yes,
I mean, I know you were out of town. I was out of town, but I heard it was like 80 degrees here.
I know. I heard great things.
Of all the weekends for us not to be here.
I
Wait, hold on.
I know.
Now we're here. We were just talking and we were in backstage.
Oh.
Hear anything.
Of course.
All right. So, welcome. We're all here again. We are excited to talk to you about the spring market update. I am Sarah Futa, realtor with the Futa Home Team.
I'm Denise, also with the Futa Home Team.
And the spring market is heating up.
Yep,
Yeah.
spring has sprung. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot to talk about.
Spring has definitely sprung. So let's start with some stats. I'm going to share my screen, Denise, so we can talk through some of these here. Can we see that? Oh, it's going to show me. I don't want it to show me. I want it to show you.
Okay.
Bear with us, people. That's all right, Denise. You can talk. Can you talk and I'll just navigate?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So these are the stats for, oh, there I am, March 2024. So median close price is 595. So it did go up 3%, 3.5% from the previous month. So there's a lot of activity, and activity drives price up a little bit. There are a little bit more homes on the market. There has been a little bit of increase, but nothing crazy. um, let's see what else. Yeah, I don't know what else you want to
Yeah,
talk on.
I think the inventory is a big one.
Yeah.
Our months of inventory have gone down, and this is specific to the Denver metro. Now, we do cover Colorado Springs and Denver, but I think we see a lot of similarities just in general when we're looking at the numbers. Um,
Hmm.
but our months of inventory have gone down, which tells us that we're going to come back into a supply and demand situation where there's more demand than there is supply. This is something we've been struggling with, and this is really what's been keeping home prices like steady, right? Everyone's waiting for home prices to drop. I don't think home prices are going to drop significantly because we don't have enough supply for the demand of homeowners. We're also seeing days on market go down. So, we're coming out of a market from a couple years ago where things were going under contract in, a weekend. And I would say probably the last, I don't know, 5 to 6 months, we've been inching more towards like a 30, 45 day on market, kind of what we're seeing.
Hmm.
And that's you guys, this is taking into consideration all price points, all, single family condos, all of that kind of stuff. But to see this go down 52%,
That's
to
insane.
a lot, to 11 days on market month over month, like that is um, yeah, that's definitely an indicator we
Quite a
don't
change.
wanna overlook. Yes.
Yeah, we
Um,
were seeing like 30, 40 days on market, and for it to just drastically go down to 11 days, it's like, whoa, I'm getting
right.
flashbacks to 2021.
Well, and look too on the right here. So active listings are up at 5,849. 4,900 of those are new listings that were new listings in March, and 4,300 went pending, right? I mean, that's some nice absorption right there if you're a seller, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so our faces are normal,
Okay.
on here. I think one of the things we're seeing, and we have that full report. So if any of you wanna see a full report that digs into condos versus single family versus, over 1,000,000, under 1,000,000, please reach
Mhm.
out to us. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at futahometeam.com. You can text us. I think we've got a QR code on here. You can scan that. You can find us. We're easily findable. Okay. You make a comment on this post and we'll get back to you. But we can gladly email you that if you're into all the stats and numbers. But one of the things we are
Good.
seeing is the housing market under a million is still moving pretty good. When you get over a million, it's slowing down a little bit. When you get over 2 million, we're seeing it slow down even a little bit more. And as crazy as those numbers sound, those aren't unrealistic numbers in our market, right? As housing prices go up, the cost of living is going to go up. We're going to see those that over a million be a very common price point on the front range. But under a million is moving fast.
Mhm.
And, I think we are seeing situations where houses are only on the market for a weekend. We were just talking this morning. I had a buyer. We made an offer on a house that came on the market Thursday. Saw the house Thursday, went back and saw it again Friday. It had 3 offers over list price, starting to put some crazy terms in there. And they went under contract, not with us, which was very sad. There was another one in the same neighborhood, and this was in Larkspur, which, God, you guys, Larkspur is kind of remote. We don't see this
Yeah.
too often. Um, this other house, I talked to the agent, and they had 4 offers over list price and went under contract, and they just came on the market this weekend. So we're starting to see this balance of real estate professionals and sellers getting on the same page with the right pricing strategy and the right presentation strategy. Where I feel like in the months past, I don't know if it's the real estate agent, I don't know if it's the seller, right? But I know we've had to have these conversations with sellers where they want to list it at a higher price, when in the current market conditions, it makes more sense to list it at a more competitive price to at least get that or a little bit more. Now, we're not seeing the crazy over list price stuff like we did 2 years ago, right? Because money is not as cheap as it was. So we're not talking like 100,000 over list price or 10%, 5%, whatever. We're talking like I would say 3 to 5% over list price is what we're
Yeah.
seeing. Strong offers that can close. And as everyone sort of waits for, I don't know, the right time, the sweet spot, whatever. I mean, the right time is your time, but we are in the spring season. And in a lot of other markets, the summer is a hot season, but in
Mhm.
Colorado, March and April and May, like that is your sweet spot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the busiest.
Yep.
Spring market is always the busiest, and then it's, like, slows down a little bit after Memorial Day.
Mhm.
I feel like it really does. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, like, I mean, it comes in little waves,
Yeah.
so definitely spring market it's busy for sure.
Yes. So let's talk about that seasonality a little bit because, I mean, I feel like last Memorial Day was just here and
I know.
it's kind of crazy.
It goes by so fast.
Yeah, like where does time just go faster as you get older? That's what I've
I don't
decided.
I don't know, but I seriously, I felt like I just celebrated the New Year,
Yeah,
and now it's, like,
and now we're
almost May.
talking about Memorial Day,
I know.
right? Yeah. Why do
Yeah.
you think Denise, why do you think summer's not as hot here?
I think it's because well, a lot of things. I mostly just because Colorado in general, like, that's when people, school's out, vacation, like, we're all on vacation mode, and buyers are not out there as much looking for homes. They're just on vacation mode. They just wanna
Mhm.
go out and enjoy, and we have really nice summers here in Colorado, so we wanna be outside. We
Me
wanna be
too.
outside, and so I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why it slows down, but it does pick up again right before, like, the school year starts, like, right before the fall semester, and I think that's just because 'cause they're like, "Okay, now that the kids are gonna go back to school, we do got to find a place," things like that, and then, like, slows down again a little bit during, winter and the holidays for sure.
Absolutely. It's, it is interesting how nice our weather is in the summer and how
Yes.
much it impacts. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see if rates do actually drop this summer, like predictions are coming in, right? Even if it's not a significant drop. I think it's going to be really interesting because we do tend to see a lot of houses go on the market in the summer, but not as much buyer demand. So I think that's where that balance comes in. Now, I've stopped predicting rate drops
Mm.
because
It changes, and then the Fed says something completely different, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right."
it's like if you're fishing, right? I know
Yeah,
fishing lately, right? But you like throw it out there and the fish bites and you're like, oh my gosh, I caught something. And then there's
never
nothing.
mind. And then
That's
it's
what,
off to hook.
that's what the Fed's like. The Fed is like a fish that you can't get on your hook. That's my analogy. But I did read a really interesting, I follow this economist and he put out a post. Gosh, when was this? It was last week. And he said that compared to the 2006 housing boom peak, home prices are 71% higher. Okay, compared to 2006. So 2006 was before the crash. So we're
Mhm.
71% higher than that. However, if you take into consideration inflation, right? So because I mean, inflation is a natural thing that happens. It's much higher right now than we are used to, right? But it does happen because that's why real estate is a long-term wealth plan. If you take into consideration inflation, he's saying that home prices are only 10% higher. So, like, if we wouldn't have had
Mm.
the crash, right, and we would have just kept going on the trend line, we would only be 10% higher than what they were in 2006 when you take into consideration inflation. Isn't that
Hmm.
crazy?
Yeah, that's
I
very
mean,
interesting.
it just kind of reiterates what we talked about, how we're right on track. If you look at any graph of any trend line of anything from real estate, go back to the 30s, right? Like whatever. And 30s, I mean 1930s. I'm not talking about well, we're not in 2030, so but anyway, 20s, right? Not talking about 2020. But like it it naturally just goes up, right?
Yeah.
Even if we've got some dips, just like the stock market, it naturally goes up. So I know there's a lot of people out there waiting for this drop, but I just don't see it happening to the extreme that we saw in 2008, 2009. So, if you're trying to time the market, stop. I think what you need to determine is, one, do you want to be a homeowner? Okay? And how do we do that? And then two, if you're already a homeowner, is the home that you're in sufficient for your lifestyle?
Mhm.
Right? Does it work for you? And if it doesn't, then what will work for you and how can we help you get there? We're seeing a lot of relocation right now. We're seeing a lot of people, we're seeing as many people leave Colorado as we're seeing people come into Colorado,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think we're seeing that a little bit more than we're seeing people like sell their home and buy another home in the same state. I'm seeing a lot more people sell their home and buy somewhere else. And conversely, those people that are selling their home somewhere else are buying here, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. Mhm. A little bit of movement there.
Literally.
What do you think? What are you seeing with buyers right now, Denise? What would you recommend to buyers in the spring market?
For buyers, every spring market, because again, we're always busy. No matter what, you should always just be prepared and have the conversation with the lender so that, if the competitiveness of this market continues, then you're ready to go and you have a lot more leverage to negotiate your terms and just conditions that you want. Because I mean, if you're and any buyer should never be shopping if they're not fully prepared and have a good financial game plan. But I think that's the main one, and just learning how to leverage, the market and see how you can be competitive. But definitely, yeah, just be prepared. Yeah, like you said, I don't think it'll be the type of negotiation where it was like we would, appraisal gaps and like 100K over asking price, things like that. But it will be competitive, and we have to figure out how to word and structure our offers for sure.
Are you still seeing an opportunity though for buyers to negotiate, like
Oh
closing
yeah.
costs and concessions?
Yeah, and I mean, every location, every house is different, every seller
Right.
is different. Like, it really just depends. it's very situational. So it's like maybe one seller is willing to give you $15,000 towards your closing costs, and
Mhm.
um, to buy down your rate or whatever the case may be. Others are maybe not, but that's where it comes down to just how to structure your offer, and how to work with a realtor that just knows how to navigate the market.
Yeah, you just made me think. We had a buyer that went under contract. Well, we actually just closed last week, and the house was listed for 525, and we ended up getting under contract at 525, but with a $10,000 seller concession. So the buyer got $10,000 to buy down her rate. Okay. Was still able to finance the house at the 525, but was able to have that 10,000 to put towards, and we appraised no problem. Like, that's the
Hmm.
part I was a little nervous about. And it just goes to show you that there's some room in the equity that these sellers have, and they're willing to negotiate on that. So you might think like, "Oh, she paid full price for the house." Like, that doesn't sound like a deal. Well, the fact that she got to finance the 10,000 in to help buy her rate down, which ended up saving her more money in the long run, is a huge deal. That wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have been able to negotiate those concessions when interest rates were 3%. It wouldn't
Oh
have
yeah.
happened.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You'd be
Well,
lucky if you
yeah,
get a home that's like, oh, I only had to go $10,000 over.
but on the flip side, you got a 3% interest rate, so you should be happy
Yeah,
about that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's always there's always pros and
There's
cons
no
to
there,
every.
that's the thing too. Like, there's no perfect time, and people keep trying to find the perfect time,
Yep.
but it's just like whatever works for you in the moment, and then go for it.
Yeah.
It's there's not going to be the exact great time.
Absolutely. I would say if any of you want to be a homeowner, right, and you just want to understand that piece of it, reach out to Denise and just set up a time to have coffee or something and just talk about what that path to homeownership looks like. Because if you never have the conversation, you don't even know. You don't know who to call. You don't know how much money it's going to cost. You don't know any of that unless you have that conversation. Becoming a homeowner doesn't happen overnight. You have to plan and prepare for it. And I think too many people wait till the last minute to have that
Hmm.
conversation. So,
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
on the flip side for sellers, we're in a key time right now. I always like to talk to sellers about getting on the market before Memorial Day. And
Mhm.
so if you're in that position and you're thinking about it, right? And you're even thinking like I want to sell this summer, please call me. Let's just talk. Let's talk about what your equity situation is. Let's talk about what your goals are so we can see what it looks like to get you into that next house so that we can line those things up. If we can't go on the market till the summer, that's fine and we'll just know that strategy and we'll work through it. But if we can get you on in this sweet spot in spring, I think you could see some really nice activity. Plus we're in a presidential election year. A lot of people don't like to make decisions as we get closer to November. So again, I think that's going to be interesting to see how the interest rates and
Mm.
like it's going to throw our seasonality all off, I think, which is going to be unique. But I would
Yeah.
still say if you know, right, or at least you have an inkling like we're going to be selling sometime this year, let's still meet now because there are things that you can do to your house in this time period while you're preparing for that right time for you that are going to have a really good return on investment for you versus you trying to do all those things in 2 weeks to get on the market,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
let's plan for it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'm
So,
seeing a lot of sell and buy. So it's that part too where it's like, let's figure out if you do need to sell your house, what does that look like? If you want to put up your house for rent, what is that going to look like? And how is this going to affect your qualifications so that we're able to get you to a new home and an
right.
upgrade? I'm seeing some upgrades too. So it's like now that people are like, okay, I don't think I'll ever get a 3% again, then maybe I'm willing to let go of my 3% on this house and just move up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and upgrade.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's I mean, we're in a conversation right now with someone trying to decide like how do they buy and move into the next one and what's it going to cost for them to get into that next one. I feel like half the time we're like time managers than anything. Like,
Mhm, yeah.
everyone thinks realtors just do like marketing. I feel like marketing is, I mean, it's
That's
definitely something
the
we do, but
yeah.
it's like a fraction of the bigger picture in what we do and lining everything up. So, well, awesome. Well, any questions out there? I know we've got one person watching. You guys, we're gonna be so popular. You're gonna come back and look at these later and be like, I was an early adapter. Well, we record these, we post them on Facebook, they're on YouTube. You can find us anywhere. We've got some fun things coming up. Denise, what?
Yes.
I know, it's
We
like,
have
like upcomings.
Cafe y Casas, so free coffee for an hour. When is it? The 19th. So 8 to 9 at Convivio Cafe. Stop by, get a free cup of coffee. Maybe let's talk about how we're gonna sell your house this weekend, this year. Like,
Well, and there's a lot of stuff about real estate in the news right now, and some
um,
people have questions about that. So if you want to talk about that more, come join us for coffee on Friday. Convivio Cafes at 38th and Sheridan. They have great coffee. It's so great to support local business, and chat with us. And we're happy to buy your coffee, whether you want to talk to us about real estate or not. Right. And then next week, I should be more prepared. I'm going to send this so we have our QR code up there so people can scan it. What are we talking about next week, Denise? I should know this.
literally just posted about it today. Hold on.
Seriously, I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh yeah. So next week we're talking about down payment versus closing costs
Oh,
because
yes. Down payment versus closing
and
costs.
you got to know what costs are involved because yeah,
Yeah.
so we're talking about that, and then the weekend or the week after that we're talking about investing outside of Colorado. So we'll have
Yes.
people from Oklahoma just speak on that, and if you want to not buy in Colorado, then that's fine. We can see how we can
Yeah. We've
invest
got
invest in a different state. Oh well.
we've got people all over everywhere. I'm actually trying to help someone find a real estate connection in Spain right now.
Ooh, fun.
I know I want to move to Spain. That'd be
And
fun. So, great. Well, with that, we want to thank you for joining us. We love these every Monday, 12:30. Nice, quick nuggets to tell you about real estate, mostly Colorado, but like I said, we cover everywhere. So we want to help you hit your real estate goals, whatever they may be. So thank you so much for joining us today.
bye. See you next week.
Bye.